نگارم ببین سینم شور زاره، تو دستم نگیری جوی بارش آبی نداره، به بار ابر تنها به خونه مرغ مینا، نزار این غم دوری نگارم را از من بگیره.
The beautiful sounds of Golnar and Mahan. And I want to say big up to my two lovely Iranian friends. Yeah, thanks for your message the other day, Golnar. And hope everything went well, you know, with Mahan over there in Iran, you know, with all the stuff that was happening or is happening. But as you know, we all got to keep the fight going and got to support each other. and stand for a cause, stand for something, because if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, as we all know. And shout out to Amir also and the rest of the musicians on this album. Check it out, people. It's called The Rock, and that's by Gulnar and Mahan. And I got a few copies, and I gave two to another organization. Hopefully something will become of that. But keep on keeping on, keep making your beautiful songs, and just do what you gotta do, and we all do what we gotta do in this society, in this place called Earth. Yes. And I'll play another track because there was another track I wanted to, there was a tussle, so I'm gonna play one more from Gulnar Mahan later on. But in the meantime, as listening to this track and when I was selecting, it inspired me to play a song from another artist, and may her soul rest in peace. And this is from Afra Haza, and hope I get this correctly, Imnin Alu. Here goes. Son of Afra Haza and a thing called Imnin Alu, and I hope I got that correctly, because for years I've been pronouncing this artist by this name, and last week, I got a message. A friend tried to get in touch, but then they left a voice message and I picked it up and I was, being corrected on the correct pronunciation, and I love that. This is what I love about doing even this little thing. People interact. And I played a track in a mix I did, and I said, Le Negresses Vertes. Little did I know, all these years I've been saying that the proper pronunciation I understand is Le Negre Verte. And I probably still haven't got the pronunciation all that correctly, but I was given the proper pronunciation. So thank you, my dearest friend, for that correction. And this is what it's all about, because we all learn something each and every day. Each one teach one. So thank you very much for that correction. And I'll play another track from a great friend of mine. I'm Mara, big up yourself, my brethren. Yeah, and I know you sent me the track that's playing right now, but listen up. I got to play this one for this particular, show. And I'll spin that one very soon. I mean, I've played it and I got a gig coming up where I'm going to drop a few of the tunes. So don't worry yourself. Big up and keep the link same way. We keep the link and keep the strength and keep doing what we're doing. So here goes Imara with a thing called Awaken.
No, I know just a ring. Up and running. I'm awakened. No sleep in my eyes. Focus. I sight up the heights. Awakened. No sleep in my eyes. Focus. I sight up the heights. Early morning as I rise. Deep breathe and exercise. Feasting on the sunrise. Hold a higher reverence for my sons and wife. I'm awakened, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Jelly water to my heart, yes. You know I've got to break my fast. Hit the street, no retreat. Must be strong, can't be weak. Chant down Babylon, won't accept defeat. I'm awakened, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awakened, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the eye. Oppressive, deceptive leaders make the massive get passive. Implementing laws and orders so them rights them surrender. With them scriptures, psychological strictures. Fools keep cool, adhere to your rule. Use like tool, burden heavy laden like a mule. For too long, battered, murdered by your weapons. Insistence and sustenance, building institutions, training intellectual morons, tactics of assimilations, grooming spies to maintain your lies. I was watching you from the corner of my eyes, seeing clearly through my spiritual lens, knowing that you are not my friends. Can't be tamed, can't be bent. Like a lion broke from your den. Now a revolutionary in your territory, armed and dangerous, confidently knowing liberation is a must. I'm awakened, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awakened, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. I'm focused, I sight up the heights. Awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, I sight up the heights. Awaken. awaken, no sleep in my eyes. Focus, eyesight of the eyes. Awaken, no sleep
The
in my
sounds
eyes.
of Imara with a thing
Focus,
called
eyesight
Awaken.
of the
Yes,
eyes.
people, we gotta be awakened for real. We gotta wake up, look what's happening around us. Yeah. And before I get into the next track, I wanna read an email I got from a friend. Last week I posed a question: has society lost its way? And I'm gonna even answer my question after reading this email. I got a few chit chat, and also there was another person who asked me something in regards to, when I mentioned not even your own child can give you happiness. I'll see if I can reiterate regarding that also. But for now, this is the email I got, from a friend of mine. Has society lost its way? Was the question. I come from a family of educators, teachers, and I know there are loads of people such as that who try to do their best in regard of guiding young minds to a positive and constructive path towards others and towards society. There are bad people as well, people that are driven by greed and hate. Since the beginning of times, groups of people moved by hate to do atrocities to others. What is different now? Even though I still have hope in some people, and I am glad to know so many good souls still are left in this world, we just need to fight for social justice, equality, and freedom. Freedom of speech and freedom of choice. Respect others even if we don't agree with them. No one is right about everything. No one is the owner of reason. You are entitled to your own opinion and your way of being, but also the other person. If you live your life like this, yes, you are contributing for a better society, for a better understanding. Of course, there are loads of bad things, but there are loads of people that believe and contribute to improve it. Society never had its way. The question is, do you think it is better than it was? Yes, some good points and quite a few things in there I can argue in a sense, but that's for another discussion in a sense. But point taken. Now, for me, when I ask the question society, we gotta ask what is society, who is society, and that's people. So basically, you could say I'm asking, have people lost their way, and to a degree, from what I've seen over the evolving, even before I came to this planet and even, to this present time, there are certain things where, it has changed dramatically. And you think with time, technology, as I say, and all of that, people are more civilized. But I don't think really people are, to be honest, And why I say that, going back, society, embodies a lot of groups, meaning, from different race, background, culture, but also people, from the babe to the elderly. And I'm speaking about people because people are actually society. Now, back in the days, yes, we know atrocities and all of that goes on, and today nothing's really changed, It's not, there's no difference, true, but there's difference in certain aspects of life. And what I mean is that there were the time when adults would guide youngsters, children, give them some boundaries because they were the keepers, they were the overseers of them. You had your child or your neighbor's child, that kind of thing. You nurtured them to come through society, and it doesn't matter what kind of world they are from, When I say other world, whether, as they say, you're from a more prestige background or just a regular person background, we're all the same at the end of the day, and we all have the same issues. So when adults used to guide, youngsters to be a better person, it could be worse, we don't know. But on the general note, you give children boundaries, youngsters that nurture them, and then when they come to a point in their life, they take control of their life. Now, with this whole freedom, as I said, freedom of speech, do we really have freedom of speech? Think about it, and the right to decide who we want to be and all of that. I totally kind of disagree to an extent, because this thing about right to be who you want to be has now put a lot of families in issues and problem with their own children, and that spawned from confusion, and that confusion of freedom, it's another word for confusion sometime when you think about it, So this freedom of who you want to be and say what you want to say, it has led to a downfall in society, in my view, from what I'm seeing. And like I said, I know parents are struggling right now with their own teenagers because today they get up, they want to be this person and call this person, then tomorrow something different. And I know for a fact because I'm speaking from situations I know of. And who contributes to this? It's the adults. And it's like there's no boundaries set. You have people who sit in certain places, even the school curriculum, the school circle, and make some decisions that are really inappropriate, if you ask me, and also clashes with parental values, things we as parents should be responsible for, other people are taking over. And this has led to certain confusion in society, and there's a difference. It's not the freedom to be or whatever, it's just that a level of confusion has now crept in society because, if you ask me, yes, society has lost its way. And to answer my own question in simple terms, yes. When I mention about communication, people really lack communication right now compared to way back in the days. And we're forgetting about all the atrocities or whatever because that's not the focus for me. The focus is on a bigger scale. There are certain things I see where people who, feel they are liberal and, freedom of speech, freedom of this, I think that contributes to a lot of the problem, if you ask me, because what I find out from my experience, and not speaking from anyone, I've engaged a lot of people who claim they are liberal in certain, in their ways and beliefs and this freedom. And when you buckle down with them in a conversation and really point out something, you don't get anywhere. It's like they want to shut down or get upset, and I've met a lot of that situation, even with close friends, to be honest, and I'm like, really? And then when you put a point to them and they realize, as we say, really got stitched up, and stick up, and the conversation end. Whereas I've met other people, you say you've got this right wing, left wing, and whatever. I don't know how those terminologies came up, but I've met with people who has different views about certain things. Maybe they are right wing, or even racist, to be honest. But you know what I find out in all truth and honesty? I can have a prolonged conversation with these people. We don't have to come to agreement or whatever but they give their views, I give my views, and we engage in conversation. And I have to say, even to this day, one of the strangest things happened. I went to a party years ago and ended up meeting a person who was quite racist. And I will say this person was also a member of the cricket team for England. And it was very interesting. And that person became a good friend of mine. Yeah. And that's because conversation. And we listen to each other. So I find out a lot of people who believe in this freedom and is liberal and we have choice to make this or that are hypocrites. Because you see something happen and you turn a blind eye. That's why, like, the president of the United States right now is allowed to do whatever. Track that history of that individual and see what's happening to today. So society, to me, has really lost its way, in my view, people. And I could go on and go on about a lot of things I see, I hear of, which is really immoral, and it doesn't give the youngsters any boundaries. That's why at this point, youngsters this day are confused. They feel like they do whatever they want. And, well, I'm going to say, you as adults can't speak to them. They do whatever. Where is the time when we set the boundaries to guide them? Because they are part of society also. So when I say society, I look at a broader spectrum and probably a bit more profound than how a lot of people look at it. So I hear where my friend is saying, but there's a lot of points I could argue deeply right there and then. Many points, yeah? So we need to think, because if I have my child going down the road and they are going off in the wrong direction or doing something wrong, and there's an adult there, who could see and stop them or say something because they're entitled to. If I find out that happened and my child should get in trouble, and I know you as an adult was there and could have said something and prevent it, I'm not going to be mad at my child. And I'm going to be upset with you as the adult, because you're supposed to set that boundary and correct, my child. And that's the essence of life. We have lost. I'm not saying everyone. And especially in this Western world, you got to question yourself a great deal. Trust me on that, because I'm speaking from experience and the privilege to travel and see a lot of things. So we need to question ourselves because, yes, to me, and just my view, we have really lost our way as society. Back in the days, children had boundaries, they used to be guided. We're not talking about all the atrocities and war that used to go on because nothing changed. But the fact to this present day, it's like there's no boundaries for the youngsters anymore and they're part of society. So my question was actually geared mainly the focus of the generations coming through because we all know people turn in adults later on. So that was my question. And just this, this time I want to play a track that makes me feel good from the very first I heard it. It has a very strong meaning when it came out and it still has a strong meaning to this day. Makes sense. Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule. There's a room where life won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. When they do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we've almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to
Beautiful sound of Tears for Fears with a very, very, very good statement. Everybody wants to rule the world. Yeah. So as I say, I feel society has really lost its way. And why I come to that conclusion, just by looking around and from experience, we've really lost the art of, you know, civil discourse. Yeah. When you break it, put it that way, you know, we've lost the art of, as I mentioned, even about communication. Not saying everyone, you know, but on a general note, what's happening, you know, with technology and all of that. So it's creeping and just messed up a lot of things in society. And I could even, you know, argue with my friend's email saying that was written from a perspective of, you know, an adult point of view, in a sense, not taking, in consideration the young generation. You know, when I mention society, I'm thinking of even the babe. I'm not thinking of just adults and we make decision and that, this, blah, blah, and all that jazz. I'm thinking from the babe right through. And if you're dealing with life on that level, then you have to take every single thing in consideration. Because you tell me, if you had your child, yeah, and you heard that another child has harassed your child in a way that isn't right, are you gonna tell me, oh, that child has the freedom to think or to be who they wanna be and all of that? Aren't we as adults gonna correct or try to rectify the situation and look at what's happening or what caused that? You're telling me you're gonna stand back and just let it be? That's why I say sometimes we as adults are real hypocrites. Yes, and sometimes when we are too liberal, that make us the biggest of hypocrites. Just my view and saying. Yep. Next track is from Farrah Sanders, a man who I had the pleasure in meeting at a music festival. Had a good little conversation. And this track is called The Creator Has a Master Plan. And then I'm going to mix a track from Cronbin. And last week I played one from Maribou featuring Cronbin. So I'm going to play a track. And this one is from the album. And the track I'm going to play from Cronbin, this one is titled Maria Tambien. I hope I'm getting the names correctly also. And then I'm going to play something from Daka Braka. And I got a funny little story regarding Daka Braka. So here goes Farrah Sanders. And then backed up with Cronbin, Maria Tambien, and Daka Braka.
In death force.
Yep, that's the sound of Daka Braka and a thing called Yelena. And I got a really interesting story. I met Daka Braka at a festival, one of the Walmart festival, and I knew they were gonna perform, and I was backstage, and I said, yeah, I'm just gonna have a conversation with them. So after the sound check, and they really seemed relaxed and doing the stuff and ready, waiting for the show. So I went up to one of the member and said, just introduced casually. Then I realized, there's no English here and I don't speak Ukraine. But just to show you the essence of life and when people have an understanding and are really human beings on a whole, I didn't understand Ukraine. They didn't speak a word of English. So they took one of the lady took my hand and like carried me and then just bring me to a lady and just stand up and then they looked at me, and like they said something. That's because they realized I was communicating with them. We didn't understand the language. So they brought me to the road manager and then she introduced herself and we had a conversation for a couple of minutes quite well, and she was the interpreter and everything relayed through. And the conversation was as smooth as butter. So I just say what I had to say, they say what I had to say, we just communicated via this individual and it went well. And what was interesting, despite they were so calm and they were up next for the show, they didn't seem rushed, they didn't shrug me off, they didn't rush the conversation, they just kept the cool. But when I looked at them, I knew something was gonna be up for this show. I just knew something was up, but I couldn't tell what it was. So luckily, I had the privilege of, sharing the same space and I could be on the stage one side and really watch the performance. I was right. And I can say this to this day. This Daka Braka show is the most powerful show I've ever witnessed in my life. From Jamaica to anywhere I've been in this world. I've seen some great spiritual show. I've seen some great performances. But when I talk about power, this show, I saw Daka Braka change the essence, the whole aura of that arena. It was different. Even I felt like I was floating. And that's because they came with a message. They came with something. And when I dug and found out there were some serious issues going on in Ukraine, and I think they just came with that in honor of the ancestors, the people, and just sang for them, and just sang for peace, and just sang the hearts out. And that's the most powerful show to this date I have ever witnessed. When I see the aura of the arena transform, it's like people were lifted even when they were completed in their performance. The cheer was just going for minutes upon minutes, And I've never witnessed anything like that. And there's nothing that's going to top that right now. Daka Braka, keep on doing what you're doing. And artists like yourselves, just keep on keeping on because the music is the message and the message is in the music. And there are people out there who knows that. So we as people who evolve around music, let's use it. It's the proper tool. And just have a look around and see what music has done for the globe. And I know it's even Bob Marley's birthday today while I'm doing this record. So next week, I'll just do a little reggae tribute. But my tribute to the whole reggae essence is going to be a different one. Not probably something you expect. And yes, I'm not going to play a Bob Marley tune today either. But much respect. And I still love him. He's my icon. But not because it's his birthday. That means I have to play a Bob Marley track. No, but next week, I'll do a treat for you all. My own way. Yep. So my little question to you today, if you all can, vibe with it. Is there a division in society where one set of people are taught to control and others are just programmed to be programmed? I'm just asking a question. Do you feel that there's a level of education that goes on in the system where it teaches one to really control, they learn about control, while others are just taught to be programmed, do as they are being told. Because remember, knowledge is power. And you get your knowledge from what's been fed to you, from what is out there, from what surrounds you. So again, my question, do you think there's a level in the educational system that teaches one set of people to control while the others to be programmed? Just a quick question. My next track to you is called Photo Viva from More Horizons. And enjoy.
Hoje eu acordei pensando em você, pensando no vazio que você deixou. Acordei e fiz uma canção. Pra mim e pra você. Que fala. Na melodia que falava do futuro que você imaginou, no passado que você não viveu, no passado que você não viveu, no passado que você danço com você. Cadê você? Cadê você? Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. Ritmo do amor. Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. Cadê você? Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. Foto viva, viva, viva. O ritmo do amor. No passado que você cá dentro do coração. Danço com você. Cá dentro do coração.
Yeah, that's the sound of More Horizons with Photo Viva. And before I play my last track, I just want to say thanks to each and everyone who, tune in. And like I say, your views welcome, and it's good to have healthy debate and discussion, whichever way, like via email or via telephone. or even if we bump into each other face to face. And, so this is what it's all about. I love it. I enjoy it because I love conversing still. And like I say, we just got to keep doing what we're doing as people revolve around music and do the best we can. As we know, music is more than just a universal language. Yeah. So remember my question is is there two sects in society, the educational system? One teaches the other to control, the other teaches one to be programmed. Do you think this exists in society? So come at me with what you think. I know there are people who are going to come at me with this, So yes, that's just my question for you this week. And people, just keep it on the positive. As I always say, take the time out to be kind to each other and do the best you can in society. There's a lot of madness going on out there, Yeah. So I'm going to close out with another track from Golnar and Mahan. I nearly mix both names. Golnar and Mahan, and it's called The Rock from the self-titled album. I'll put a little link to their website. Check it out. And Golnar, I'm looking forward to the new album coming out. Yeah, really looking forward to that. So people, in the meantime, in between time, yeah, stay on the positive. Next week, a little reggae tribute, my style, my way. Enjoy.
که سپرده جوونه هاش رو به دست باد. به من بگو ریشه دار تا که باشه خونم تو داشته بیا با پر از خواب. روزی بودن شاخه هم پرز جوانه، من سایبان بودم بر خواب و یه رغبت انگیز. من روزی بودم لبریز از امید، امروز فقط تک درختیم در مسیر باد. و فصل خوشگلی آبادی شوری تو در خود داری آنچنان شوری تو در خود داری انگار یادی از تاریکی ها نداری آیا این خلق جنگله یا سرنوشت شاخه هایم میلرزن همه در انزوا این ازدهام جنگله یا سرنوشت شاخه هایت میرقصند همه سرخوش رها به من بگوی در زمین سر و استوار کجا نهفته ای ز سرخوشی هایت را من روزی بودم لبریز از امید امروز فقط تک درختیم در مسیر بار
Thank you.